Yo.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Kirk.
You just should have voted Keegs. I mean, life is just so much easier.
I know. I shouldn't have played the box is my problem.
Yeah, I thought about it too. We had a good talk after. I think we're okay, but we talked about you have your insecurities. Obviously, I told you I have this compulsion to burn things down. So it was like a perfect marriage.
Yeah, basically it comes down to I'm a pussy and you're a tremendous dick. So
right.
We really should get along.
We do.
A dick and a pussy fit
That's
together.
True. That's true. 99% of the time we generally do. So
yeah.
But my thing is I've talked about, like, you came up to me because you had heard about Taylor, the Taylor thing. You thought it was you. You came up to me and you're like, if you vote me out, this will affect our relationship personally. And I was like, well, I guess we're taking it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the whole thing. I think back at it, like, there's a million little things that you could play differently. It's mental torture, and I always just think back, like, Dave is just it's a house of, like, it's a clown house that he wants everyone at each other's throats. He had the best time. I think everyone had lowlights and moments they probably wish they could take back, and Dave has zero of those. He's just a pig in shit with all of this stuff. And like that realization that you're kind of like a pawn in Dave's big game it sets in, and you're like, all right, I guess we're all kind of the same here. So I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
The first is, I don't think you understand that the Joe Buck picture, it's Joe Buck, but his head is bigger. Like, I don't think you get it.
I never put that together. Now you know what? I don't apologize for the Boston thing. I apologize for that. That was over the line. Did you?
That was really what bothered me. I was just like, what the fuck is he going at my Joe Buck big head picture for?
You must have known, like, you're like, this fucking asshole is just gonna go all in at that final vote. I mean, like,
I gotta tell you the funniest thing.
Yeah.
In classic Bosco, because Bosco only sees Bosco.
That is definitely true. Yeah.
The world revolves around Bosco and no one else. And I love the guy, but he is like, you've had calls with him where he calls you and he says, like, he just talks for 30 minutes about what his problems are. And then he says, all right, he said to me on, I think it was Saturday night at that house, which was a torture house for me. He said, how bad do you think I'm going to get it tomorrow from Kirk? And I was like, Bosco, are you fucking serious, dude?
Yeah.
I was like, it's coming for me. He just he can't conceptualize anyone else in the world but Bosco. Right. But yeah, I knew it was coming. I told you this on Tuesday when you were here.
Yeah.
The worst part for me personally is that we taped it and then it was 4 months of having to wait. Like, if it had come out right away, it's like, I feel like I would have been able to just be like, all right, let's power through this.
Right.
Having it hang over my head for 4 months was torture. It was just like, get this over with. Let's get this show on, start putting them out. But I mean, they obviously need to do a lot of editing and everything. So it takes a while, but yeah, it's a crazy show. It's a crazy fucking show.
What, all, like, kidding. Like, so, like, is it like a decision? Like, we are actually, like, I'm just going to be a fan, like, today? You know what I mean? Like, how do you mean, like, an asshole way? Is it just like, hey, I like it here? Like I said to you, I was like, I don't think it's a big deal. I did it because I knew you knew it was a big deal, or you thought it was a big. So, like, is it just like, hey, I like living here more. I don't have a lot of family back there. If you're a Patriots fan for those 3 Super Bowls, in like 07, like.
Yeah, it was a slow process. Part of it was not living there anymore, after 01. So it's like you start to lose a little bit of the connection as much and, like, not going back as much. And then it was a slow process where it's like, listen, I always had a connection to Chicago in some way. So there was always, like, and I know this is going to be lame. People are going to say, you can't have second teams. But those were my second teams, so to speak. Like, I always wanted them to do well because I wanted to talk to my, family about that who lived here. And then it was like, I love this city. I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. I'm going to raise my kids here. And there's probably some deep seated therapy shit I need to go through where, like, my parents weren't originally from Boston. So it's like you know what I mean? Like, there's probably some deep stuff that I got to unpack with my therapist and maybe talk about you. I still have to talk about you with my therapist.
You haven't talked about me with your therapist yet? I've talked about you. I've talked about you with my therapist.
How did that go?
It was fine. I said this was another example of somebody who, because I was legitimately when you did the friendship thing to me and then wound up fucking me over, because like we were good friends.
Right.
And I think I think you would agree with that. And like, we're trying to sort of repair this thing. But after surviving, I was like, this is another example of me like torching another friendship. Like I was saying before you got on, when I got eliminated and I walked around there, I could have not said that. Like life would have gone on, but I did say it. And I'm like, why? And his point is, well, because you felt like close enough, like you felt like you were kind of abandoned. I was like, I kind of do. And I get super worked up, and I don't like, you know me, like it's, and I said to you, I was like, honestly, it was fucking Dan's fault because he knows I'm crazy. Like,
believe me, I put a lot of the blame on me. Like I said, I wish I had fucking not opened that goddamn box. Like that was because I would have voted for Kelly. That was that part.
By the way, as you wrote though, like this is like now it's like because nobody, like I know you get shit online, the pages, but like nobody thinks it's a big deal. Like, I will say this, I keep saying it, like it's I can see how a part of my Take fan would be like, boy, it's weird that he kind of built this person, but now it's like, well, all right, who cares? He's a good, like, I'll listen to the pod. I think you were worried it was going to like affect the listenership and all. It's not going to do that.
No, I made it a huge deal in my head where it was like, and my wife said this to me the other night. She's like, you didn't kill anyone. Like, it's not like this, you know what I mean? Like, there are serious things that happen that, that are just so different. Like, this is obviously a big thing to you, but like, life moves on. And yeah, there'll be some people who probably hate my guts. And that's really what it comes down to. And you know this about me. I don't like feeling, I feel uncomfortable when people dislike me, and I'm working on that. That's really what I'm talking about in therapy, trying not to be a people pleaser, trying to be like, hey, look, if you have problems with me, those are your problems. I'm going to keep living my life and do the best I can. But it's also, I mean, a lot of people have reached out and been like, hey, you've helped my career and you've done this for me. And like, so the whole thing has been crazy. And I think I said this to you on Tuesday, like, I've had an incredible life. I've had an incredible career. I had, I was very well liked. I think I still am, but sometimes the internet calls your number and you got to step in the box and take a couple 99-mile-an-hour fastballs to your head. And like, that's it. Like, you just got to power through it. And I've never, I tried not to mope about it. I tried not to be a bitch about it. It's like, you got to just power through it and keep going on. I did have a couple other questions for you.
Let me ask you one before you ask yours.
Yeah.
Is it like a Daniel Day-Lewis thing where you've been just hiding a massive Boston accent the whole time?
No.
Okay.
Like
that would be
exhausting. They're from the area, so that I never had that. And I was talking to Feidelberg the other day, and he was like, yeah, I never even thought twice about it because I never was like, like, oh, the Patriots win. I'm like, oh, fights, that was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I think I lost $30,000 betting on the Falcons against the Patriots in that Super Bowl.
Well, there was also we've had a caller, Dan and Newton, for like 3 years. Like, Nate made a joke. Remember at the 20?
Right.
People messaged me when I was an intern 10 years ago.
Yeah. People would message. I would get people who would message me and be like, Dan messaged me because I'm like. I didn't want to bring it up to you because I was like, this fucking poor guy is like, I want to say to you, this, I guess on me a couple of years ago, be like, Dan, just fucking like, but like, but there was this thing around you where it felt like because we talk, like you'll call sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, you'll call and ask me for advice. Right. And I same with you, one of the few people I could do it with. Even then, like being able to say to you, like, "Hey, Dan," I felt like there was a bubble around that topic. You know what I mean? It felt unapproachable.
I kept people at an arm's length on that stuff, which was very stupid of me. And it's like, why did you make it such a big deal in your head? And like, that is partially why I'm in therapy. Of like, you gotta. Like the people that matter to you in your life, like let them in. It's okay. Like there's that like defense mechanism. But yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people do it for a really long time, and it's like I was just really stupid and shameful for no real reason. Other than I made it big in my head.
What is your therapist theory? If you could get it down to one, BetterHelp.com. If you could get it down to one, like what is it? To me, it's always
it's people pleasing.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, what is that coming from though? Like, where is that?
Like, we haven't gotten like so deep that like where like the root of it, but it's really just like even talking about this game and like surviving, like There's some people who I still feel awkward with. I actually don't feel awkward with you because we talked for a long time on Tuesday, and that's like kind of all I need. But there's some people I still feel awkward with. And then like having that moment where I'm almost trying to push them to be like, tell me it's okay. It's like, don't do that. Just let them like do whatever they want to do. And if they come to me, if they have a problem with me, they can say it to me. And if they don't want to be friends with me anymore, I have to just let that go because that means our friendship wasn't that real to begin with. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
if the game affected our friendship, like to that point, then we were always coworkers, not friends. So
which is why I think we're trying to kind of get through this thing.
Right, and I think we will. I absolutely think we will.
This horrible thing. Which
horrible thing. Horrendous catastrophe.
Which parent is there a parent that like for me, like I said this to you. I was like, it still comes from my dad. Like, for me, like this thing to be an asshole was from him. Like, you gotta fucking be tough. You gotta still to this day. Like, is it one of your parents that led you more to be a people pleaser? Like, are you looking for some sort of validation?
I don't know. I actually don't know that. I'll call back in when we get to that because we're starting to uncover some of that.
I'll go if you want. I'm happy to go if you like.
Sounds like he goes to Justin's therapist. They just talk about the Bears.
That's the one thing before you. The one fucking thing, Dan, who I've been good friends with for years. Like we have this talk, and then like he's like, "Yeah, really the most important thing." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Can I still talk to Justin?" I was like, "What the fuck? What about me? What about me?"
I wanted to get to this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, all right. So there's a couple of things. So obviously, like, the final speech, which you looked crazy, and it hurt me, but you looked fucking crazy.
Crazy.
And like being like you only like KMS because you're trying to please me. It's like that's not true. Like
Well,
that actually hurt. I immediately thought.
Did that hurt you?
Yeah, it hurt me.
That's why I did it. This is my own. See, we're battling our issues. Yes.
Right. You're a tremendous dickhead, and it hurt me.
Right.
But I was like, I don't know why I immediately thought of the KMS basketball team. I was like, you love that team. Like, what is this bullshit?
You should have said that right there.
Yeah, I should have just been like, I was just so beaten. Yeah, I love that team. That's bullshit. But I thought there was a moment where I was just like, how mad would Kirk be if I texted Justin, like in the middle of these 4 months, just being like, hey, like I got your back anytime you need a job. Come here. Because like Justin and I, like, listen, Cullinane is a soulless robot, right? Like he's just doing his job. He's taking his orders. Justin and I had a real relationship. You know what I mean? Like I've talked to Justin on like a gut level and like,
that's true, Justin.
We talked. So,
yes.
So I was like, I hope this hurts him a little, but I knew it was all going to pass.
It was a time of war, and sometimes
I knew that.
You gotta,
you guys are soldiers. You had to do your thing. Yeah. I also was thinking, Mike, you come into this because when Coach said all that, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to stop listening to the show because I don't even want it to seep into my head that like I'm listening to it. I make a reference. I'm going to resubscribe after this, but
thank you.
I did still. So I stopped listening to the show and I had it out of my podcast feed, but I still got an email. Like every other day.
Yep. I swear to God, I checked.
I
checked to see if he unsubscribed.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, from blindlights.net and from fucking Muttstack. And I got it every fucking 2 days.
No, you think you had it tough before that. Jesus
I was just like, what am I doing? Still subscribed. I stayed
That's
loyal.
That's loyal.
I knew we would turn. Look, you kind of said this to me on Tuesday. I knew like once the game's over, we'll piece it back together. So I was like, it's just got to get through this. I do have one last question, though.
Go ahead.
So the Pink Wedding aired. You texted me and Rico.
Yep.
You two are absolute scumbags.
Yep.
I almost taped myself farting into the phone and send it back. What would your reaction have been?
I probably would have then gone like nuclear, like just some sort of crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Again, because I was like, because the problem is, I think Dan said this on the Pick'em one. This is part of the redemption tour. The first thing was Pick'em, and he said, he was like, you watch it, you're doing it, and you get mad, and then you like, even Dan and I like texted a little bit over those few months and talked once or twice,
right?
And then you watch it again and you get re-mad. Like the anger, I was angrier watching it than I was.
You learn more too.
But you also, but you also forget. I was like, maybe Dan didn't do that. I was like, oh fuck, he did do that. So you get mad again, and then so to me, like the game ends the minute we all stood up Tuesday, and everyone kind of talked, and Dan and I walked over and talked. I was like, the game, like, look, he fucked me over in the game. I was a tremendous dick back. Like, this is whatever. We'll be okay kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, and
so,
I thought the same thing. It was funny because I had obviously the opposite side where I was like, maybe Kirk will watch this and be like, I just made a mistake.
No.
And then I get that text message being like, you're an absolute scumbag. I was like, oh, never mind. we're still going.
Dan walking into the loser's house was like when the child rapist goes to prison. And like, like, this guy's going to get shivved. Like, I thought there's a chance he was going to get killed.
It was torture. And I know that, like, it was also like, for some reason, I mean, it's not for some reason, I'm a terrible gambler, but I like got absolutely killed that weekend in gambling. So I was watching that Alabama-Georgia game late on Saturday night after going through that torture, and then I had to go back to the house, and it was just like, it sucked. But yeah, listen,
and I was
power through it. You got to take your licks.
I was in like full dick mode.
Yeah, yeah.
You were pretty nice to Clemmer in that clip last night.
Yeah. I mean, Dan was like, he's like, can we talk? I'm like, no. Like, at one point I was like sitting on the couch and Dan was like sitting on the floor. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, even I was
just
kind of
like, no one wants to talk to me. And then Mincy, of course, was like, I still love you.
I love you, Dan.
I was like, dude, I don't need this. Like,
makes it worse.
I know that you love me. Yeah, like there's no problem here. But yeah, it was it's a crazy, crazy fucking show. Yes. And I'm happy it's over. I also will say one last thing. Rhea's speech was crazy. That I don't think landed the way that she thought it was going to.
It did. It did for me, obviously.
It did for you. You got played. You got played.
I was angry. That was a pure. So what do you mean crazy? In what way?
I just think it was like crazy to just bring up the past and then be like, it's been so like hard for me at Barstool, like then leave. I don't know. I mean, it's like, and also like you have a good life, like. Marty picked up his piece, like I don't know, and then the one thing that always has bothered me from it is the moving the desk thing that's become this huge thing. Anyone in my spot would have done that because I don't know.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true, Dan. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that.
No, let me explain it to you. You remember where my seat was in New York City? I was at
like in the back or something, like
it was in the corner,
yes,
right? It was in the corner where you had to walk down that little alleyway to get to me. Hank had already moved his seat to go upstairs like a year prior.
All right, so then he's gone. So
Hank
what's the problem?
But Hank is the producer of Pardon My Take, and he's like my best friend at the company.
Right.
He would come and talk to me about business stuff and shit we had to do every single day. I'm not going to make him walk by Marty and sit there.
But is there like
your Jorge Posada bobblehead and get the hell out of here?
Is there a way to do it? Is there a way to do it? Is there a better way to do it though? Like
you guys make it sound like I put him in Siberia. I put him 2 rows away.
I always picture like Marty literally lifted his desk and walked like over to another spot.
I assumed he didn't have a desk. He was hanging by his underwear on the back of a door.
Is this really your course of the old Red Sox Yankee thing with Marty? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. No, I moved him 20 feet away, and it was like, yeah, I can't believe he did this. Like anyone would have done that. You can't. I didn't want to sit next to him. So I didn't want Hank to have to walk by him.
So you think Rhea's speech was crazy?
I thought it just didn't land the same way that she thought it would in her head because she just became like, I don't know. I think she played an incredible game. But like she did the thing that like people were mad at me about, where it's like crying to Dave, crying at the speech, and then going in the confessional and being like, I'm a mastermind. It's like, okay, like like just say you played a great game. Just do the speech and say you played the great game. You're going to win anyway.
I think she smelled the hatred too. But honestly, Dan, that's like a good gameplay though.
As a viewer, it was weird to hear her go, I've survived Barstool for 8 years. It's like, well, where was that all week?
Right. But I'm
that's
saying,
where it
but
didn't really land.
But I think
it's like, what is this?
But I think it did in the room, though, which is all that matters for her to get the 250, because all of us, I mean, there was such
I think she would have won aneway.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Taking that van, Dave was going to win that thing, I think.
No way. You might have switched.
No, I think you're wrong. I mean, you might be right, but I think you're wrong. Like, honestly, if we had found out, because look, I stayed at the hotel, you went home. If we had found out, like, if Tara had come in or something next morning, be like, Dan Katz, I have a heart attack last night, the fucking house would have erupted in cheers. Like, there was such a concentrated hatred to you at that point. Which the difference between you and me is like, I'd be so proud of that. You're like, I know. You almost feel bad, but
torture.
I mean, obviously, the biggest mistake was quitting. That I mean, you knew that to me.
Of course, that was 100%. I told you this. and I think I've said this on air, but like it was a World War I, World War II thing where I played the last season. I got voted out in 4 hours, and I was so pissed at myself for not caring. Second season, I went way too hard, way too early, and made way too many moves. And like that, and so like if we do it again, I'll do it again. I'll play the game again, and I think I'll just have a little bit of a different. I think I'll probably last another 4 hours because there'll be people just holding grudges for forever on this.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that it's already passed. Like the balloon is popped. I think mostly. Don't you think?
Well, who texted you last night? Who texted you last night saying great speech, or was that after the speech?
Who's that?
Well, you said, did you say on a name today that someone texted you being like great speech?
Yes, someone did text. Not in the game. So at the company, not in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is something I've been working with my friends.
I know you talked about this. You right away, you were like, who in New York hates me? And I'm like, I just made that up just to piss you off.
Yeah, but it's just like, I can't have, you can't let it, everyone can't love you. There's going to be people who hate me. And the best thing I can do for myself is not try to make them like me.
I had people telling me, I forget who it was, and they were like, "You think you're not gonna be able to do like mini golf and Ryder Cup?" I'm like, Dan doesn't give a fuck about that. That's definitely not gonna happen. Like I don't. No. I think we're okay. And I would get if Dan was pissed at me and like but like I think we're okay. I don't. I will say I know.
I was pissed, but I'm similar to you. Once last night I did, I was like, let's move on. Right. You know what I mean? Like let's fucking go somewhere else. Like life's too short to have a fucking surviving Barstool change everything.
Look, so when I was having dinner with Darren Ravel the other night, we were talking about
that hurts you.
Oh, kills me. I was so pissed. I called you right after. I was like, fuck.
I didn't want Darren Ravel.
The last thing I needed was that. The last thing I needed was that. Of course, it's quote tweeting the show count. You guys put up the picture, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a funny picture.
That made me so happy though that Darren Ravel was like Kirk and Darren Ravel skipping down the street.
I don't like that.
You did not expect to end up in that spot.
I liked that he had 500 tweets he could post before that one.
Oh, he's such a loser.
He is the biggest.
This isn't it.
Yeah. Dave texted me. He's like, you and Dan are going to become. I was like, yeah, this is going to essentially bring us back together. Our hatred.
Yeah, our common enemy. Common enemy.
Do you drink? Were you a Sam Adams guy? That was a Sam Adams.
No, I don't even know. That was like a 2005.
I think you said it was you told me it was the
the Ben Watson.
The first playoff game that Brady lost.
Yeah, 2006.
Do you have that Brady jersey still or no?
I do not. I do not. Okay. No, I'm not. I'm a Coors Light guy. So.
I mean, it's good that you left the Patriots, and had fucking Tom Brady, and then you went to the Bears.
Yeah, what a loser! I'm the biggest loser of all time. So I'm a moron. I know that.
Any questions for Dave, Justin, Mike, or no?
I did. I mentioned this earlier, but so you were trying to get Rico to the finals, but then you still would have voted for Rhea if Rico made it.
No. If Rico had made it, I probably would have voted for Rico.
Okay.
I probably would have. I probably would have flipped there. That would have been a lot different of a take. But like when it's Dave and Megan, and they both played good games.
Right.
I stayed strong. I stayed true to my word in that respect. I also think. I'll be honest, it definitely probably twists Rhea a little bit that she basically did a whole speech bashing me and I stayed true to my word. You know what I mean? So it's kind of get that one laugh, where it's like, hey, I actually won because I was on it.
Did you think, I mean, I know obviously you quit because of all the stuff, but did you think there was a path if you hadn't quit to winning or no?
No. The numbers, I told you this, the numbers changed for me when, Francis got eliminated, and it was me, Moobs, Rhea, Dave, and Roan. And Dave told me he's not voting out Moobs because I had the text where I was like, all right, so Moobs is next. And he was like, we're not voting out Moobs. And I was like, well, I am now a passenger in this because I thought I was in the driver's seat.
Right.
But now the numbers, because it's like Dave had Moobs and he had Rhea. So it's like I kind of am just at the whims of whatever they decide. And that's the crazy part about the game is you have to think 4 moves ahead.
Yep.
Where it's if these numbers flip on me, I'm no longer in control, and I made too many strong moves at the beginning.
Yeah, I think you just played. I remember too because you and I had a lot of talks late at night up in your office.
Right.
Remember, and it was kind of you. I was like, wow, he is overhyped about this.
It was too much.
But I'd rather
move was too much.
I'd rather go out that way though than go out the way like Moobs did, or you're just sitting around waiting for your Clemmer, like you get your head cut off. I don't know, you know?
Right. There also were people like, yeah, I quit and I hate it. I'm ashamed of it. But there also were people who basically quit because they never played the game. You know what I mean? There was definitely a group of people who just never got into the game.
Caleb Preston.
Right. Yeah, Whitney. What do you say, Dave?
So I don't know if Dan knows this. I was on a team that solved a murder last year. I'll be featured on Dateline in a couple months. That boarding school lie was an all-time lie.
Oh, yeah. That was a panic move.
Hold on. What else is out? What are some other lies that you have told? There has to be more.
I think that was the big one where it's just like I panicked. You know what I mean? Like I was ashamed. Yeah, and I panicked, and those guys gave me a lot of shit when I went in on Wednesday, which I can take. Like Tom Waddle, who played for the Bears, his wife is
flexing his Bears now.
Yeah, but his wife is Gino Capellatti's daughter.
Oh, there you go.
I went into the studio. I went into the studio on Wednesday, and he had a coat on. I was like, "Why are you wearing a coat?" And then as soon as the show started, he took off the coat and he's wearing a Gino jersey. So,
Waddle.
Yeah, those guys are I've known those guys for a long time. But yeah, that was stupid of me. I'm ashamed of that.
You happy, Dave?
No, I'm not. I'm not. There's got to be more lies.
Unsatisfied.
Which is fine.
I'll think of more, Dave. I'll text
thank
you.
That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know.
You know what, Dave? I've had such a fun 2 weeks. You know what I'll do is I'll make sure that tonight I sit down and I satiate Dave Cullinane wants.
Yeah, it's really important to make Cullinane satisfied.
You can text me. I know you like Tyson Justin.
I'll text you. I'll text you, buddy.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't there part of you? I just wanted to ask. Wasn't there part of Dan, where like when you get the wrath of Kirk and you know something is coming, and you hear Kirk say to Rico, "I'm gonna tell people you are having an affair. You're cheating on your wife." Aren't you kind of like, "Oh, thank God, this is the thing"? Like I was surprised you weren't like, "Oh, this is easy."
No. So that clip.
Oh, you
my
told me
wife
about
watched
this.
that clip and she texted me. I was in the middle of doing an interview. She texted me. She's like, "Why did Kirk say you're having an affair?" I was like, "What?" And then so I texted Hank. I was like, "Watch that clip for me and let me know what it looks like." He's like, "No, he's talking to Rico." So I had 20 minutes where that was pinned on me.
Jesus Christ!
All right. Can I ask Dan one thing?
You may not. All right.
Are you in for next, is he in for next year?
Yeah. By the way, shout out! I told Kirk this a couple months ago. Shout out Menners. No one's ever read the room worse because I think most Minute fans knew this was coming by just the tone.
Yes.
The last 4 months. Menners emailed me before Kirk's birthday and invited me to come into studio for Kirk's birthday.
That's fine.
No one has read a room worse than what Menners did. And also Coleman texted me in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you told me this. Yeah, looking for a job.
2 months ago, being like, I'm about to apply to another job. Like, don't pass on me or something like that. Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah,
all right, we'll
you guys
talk.
Who can't read the room. All right,
we'll
see
talk.
you guys.
Thank you. See you.
All right, later.